K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacy. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
And no, Lieutenant Sullivan, the name of the show is not Gay Mom. Tuesday night, January 19th, 2016, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacy here for Game On that K98 Talk, baby. Everybody within the sound of my voice, you know exactly what to do. You get over to K98Talk.org right now. Get in that chat room. Say hello to the drunkest, nakedest, LSD after today's Sarah Palin speech, takingest, smartest political radio audience in the business. And as always, welcome back to all our political freaks, geeks, and back alley sneaks. JD and Stacy, baby, here to kickstart your heart and your Tuesday. I needed to wake up after the Valium dose of that speech, right?
Oh, my God.
Woo! Tuesday night, baby. K98 Talk. JD and Stacy here on that Game On. You want to go skydive naked from an aeroplane, baby?
No. I don't
Tonight,
even like to fly, let alone jump out of a plane.
Tonight, Iran gets a reach around. 2 Trumps for that sister Sarah, baby. Virtual porn and more, because that's how we do it here on Game On. Remember, guys, we're not just here live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do it live again Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard here in that K98 Talk. Best 3 hours in radio. You got the Bell River, and For Whom That Bell Tolls, baby. That's at that 8 p.m. You got JD and Stacy in the middle at 9, and then you got Hedge in the Freezer Radio, Daniel Stafford at 10 p.m. with that Stafford voice. here in that K98 Talk. And Stacey and I do it again. Drive time leading into that Yahoo Sports and that WNJC. 1360 AM over in that Friday, 5 p.m., Southern Jersey, Northern Delaware, Philadelphia. And, guys, after the show, not during it, get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Find the catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Tavi Rick Robinson. And, folks, make your arrangements. Get down to CPAC March 2nd through the 5th, Gaylord Hotel over in that. What part of Maryland is that called?
National Harbor.
National Harbor, Maryland. Come down, see the K98 Talk crew. Come see the WNJC crew. Come meet JD and Stacey. Come get your picture taken. Then come out, hang out with us, baby, but no cameras allowed because we ain't allowed to take pictures in them after hours, right?
There are certain parties we have attended where cameras are not allowed.
Okay, terrific.
Oh, my God. And there are some where you could make a lot of money with them. I'm thinking the Congressman and Midget Party.
Oh, God.
Good evening, darling.
Good evening. How are you?
Better than most, not as good as some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want to get rid of this cold. This has been like a week.
Oh, you're all ick.
Whatever is like invading the nation at this point, it is just like the biggest hanging on awful stuff ever.
What, Mexican illegals?
Ugh.
You just said, for whatever invading the nation,
the virus,
hanging on.
the bacteria, this time of year is horrible.
So for those of you who have missed it,
I was talking about my cold.
For those of you who have missed it, Stacey has caught a viral version of comprehensive immigration reform.
Wow.
Okay, terrific.
But, you know, let me give the audience a little insight of what it's like to have a co-host on radio, especially male-female. Very much radio husband, radio wife. And for those of you who are married and you spend every day, every evening with your significant other, it's kind of like the same relationship. So when one is sick, the other is sick. So we're here to lift you up, baby. We're here to get them sinuses unblocked to that 10 p.m. hour.
Oh, my God.
Oh. I can't believe that you didn't just cough and hack and gack everything up with the big endorsement of the day.
Oh, that gave me a headache. It scared my dog. It made me literally want to bang my head into the wall that's next to the couch. It was the longest, nearly 22 minutes I have experienced since the State of the Union.
And it was one of those. It was one of those. And what we're talking about, of course, is we're talking about Sarah Palin endorsing Donald Trump today in Iowa, and the optics of it were orgasmically fantastic. If you're a political porn junkie, because if the rest of the audience is anything like,
she got a boob job?
No, because of how ridiculous the whole spectacle was. I mean, we'll get into it, but what I thought was one of the most phenomenal parts, it's so bad that this is theater of the mind, so we're going to have to paint a picture. But anybody who can, go find the endorsed video on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find. The whole rally there, I think, lasted about an hour and 12. The endorsed speech of hers alone is about 22 minutes. If you look at Donald Trump about 11 minutes into her speech, he is so pissed that she is hogging his stage time. And she is up there not letting go of it because Sarah Palin went to an igloo in Alaska and found the frozen version of peyote and took it and is now Donald Trump with boobs.
No,
no, go ahead.
First of all, I mean, if you go all the way back to September, okay, this was kind of predictable. Because at that point, she was on her show and other people's shows because I think, what is she on? One America News Network?
I don't, she's somewhere.
OANN or something. She got
Yeah.
booted off of Fox because, I mean, as a commentator, she sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
I can see my hypocrisy from my house.
Well, no, but all I'm saying is back in September, she was making the round saying she wanted to be Donald Trump's Secretary of Energy. So she was stumping and put herself out there for a post in his administration back in September. If you think there has not been some backdoor agreement to that, you're insane.
Oh, my God. Sarah Palin and backdoor agreement.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
If you start talking about the wall and his wife again, we're done. I'll hang up the phone.
And for those of you who have not, or new to the show, understand that Donald Trump, I want to build a wall because of all the beautiful Mexicans that have been through my wife's door. I need to build. Mexicans, huge wall. And for those of you,
but to hear her end that speech with, if you want a candidate who's pro-life and pro-2A and pro-Constitution, I'm sitting there going like, progressive tax, eminent domain, socialized medicine, wow. Smack.
And those are the three things, and we're going to get into that. And for those of you who think that we might be kidding, we might be going a little too far, I honestly think that Sarah Palin was one of three things. Either she is so insanely rusty, which I don't buy because she's been a national figure for so long. She was literally drunk, or she has become from somebody who wanted to be not a candidate, a kingmaker, and actually lives in a gilded world of her own that's outside of reality.
She actually did a credible impression of the parodies that used to be done on her on Saturday Night Live.
No. I mean, that was today. Sarah Palin did Tina Fey doing Sarah Palin. Now, I don't want this to be a vicious...
Are we sure it wasn't Tina Fey?
I don't want this to be a vicious Sarah Palin knock job, but let me tell you where JD is on Sarah Palin and where I always have been. When John McCain... when McCain ran, McCain was the nominee, so I pulled the lever. However, when he thought outside the box with that Palin nomination, she is such an electric figure and personality and did have a good political story up to that point. And, a lot of the backstory that came out of that is that the McCain campaign kind of didn't want Sarah Barracuda being all Sarah Barracuda, and they kept this great bottled-up force on the back shelf. And she really became a superstar in that election because I think a lot of people thought McCain was weak and thought that she was was a burning hotter star than he was. And I looked at her and I said, you want to know what? This woman can be a rock star. She can be a movement conservative icon. And what I would have liked to have seen her do at that point was to go after the 2008 election and lock herself in a room and just get studied up on the issues that she was weak on. I'm not going to sit here and do a mainstream media nonsense that Sarah Palin is a hoople. She's not. But there were certain things, the way that Ben Carson, Scott Walker, Rick Perry, that weren't ready for prime time. She had gone through this process. She had the opportunity to go out and assimilate this and come back and be one of the strongest candidates that the right has ever seen. She didn't do that. She decided to go.
No, and it was evident she still hasn't, which is why I don't think she's on any serious network as a commentator.
Let me finish what I was saying. And that was the point that I was going to make, is that she went the other route. She decided to go more reality conservative rock star route, and she got paid. And I remember when that happened, I said, you know what? Good for her. The country and the movement misses out, but I'm not going to begrudge anybody for setting up their next 5 generations with the money the woman could make. I'm going to fast forward. This is just the beginning of the woman whose hopes, aspirations, and that people came out and named Sarah Barracuda. This is Sarah Barracuda today. For those of you who are old enough to remember, it's a Norma Desmond reference.
Sarah Palin, special person. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be in Iowa. We're here just thawing out.
She's drunk.
Todd and I and a couple of our friends here from Alaska lending our support for the next president of our great United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Mr. Trump, you're right. Look back there in the press box. Heads are spinning. Media heads are spinning. This is going to be so...
It sounded like she just had an orgasm.
Much fun. Are you ready to make America great again? We all have a part in this. We all have a responsibility. Looking around at all of you, you hardworking Iowa families, you farm families, and teachers and Teamsters and...
Oh, that woman got a mouth like an outboard motor all the time.
Shut up! That was a minute into her intro. We were getting feedback from the chat room. God, this is painful to listen to. Shut it off. I actually stopped listening. I had to go back and do some research for the show. I had to stop listening to her. I made a comment today on social media. For those of you who do not follow me,
You're ridiculous.
Sarah Bristol and Todd and the rest of the family, the Palins, have basically become the Kardashian family of American politics.
Well, I mean, if you look, there was actually an interesting article in the Daily News by S.E. Cupp, and she said over the past 8 years, Palin's influence within the Tea Party has remained strong, but her favorability rating among all Americans has dropped 40 points. Worse, her rating among Republicans has declined more than 55. So those people who view Sarah Palin favorably has declined 55 points, and the highest I could find among Republicans for her was 72.
Let's make some. You know what? We have an opportunity here to coin a new phrase in baseball. If you're batting under, I think it's a 180. It's called the Mendoza line. It refers to a really bad player a long time ago. We should call what you just referenced the 55%. That should be the Hagar line, like Sammy Hagar. But right. No, keep going. What you were saying about the where her.
Well, it's just her influence. If you think about it, the last time I saw her really come out and hit some home runs in terms of being that person who could touch somebody on the shoulder and make it happen was in 2012. She had zero impact on 2014. Zero.
I have to, before I make that statement, I literally have to go back and look to see who she endorsed and where it came out. But I honestly think that, this is a very big political house bet to my mind, because Ted Cruz, if I look at his campaign, he's playing a long game. But from where he's come and where he's gotten to, if he loses Iowa, he will go on. But with the numbers that Trump currently has in New Hampshire, if they hold, and Cruz doesn't, I don't see what his path is. And this is really what got me with this, because if Trump does not get if Trump does not win Iowa, I think that hurts both he and Palin. Him in the short term, but I think her more in the long term, because from scrolling social media and a bunch of things that were written today and just, having some conversations with people I respect, across the political spectrum, is there was so much disappointment and disaffection. So my question is, if people who love themselves some Sarah and said, Sarah Barracuda, baby, that's for me. And then today, those very same people saw somebody, just to Stacey's point, because those are the three things that I have an issue with when people say Trump and conservative. His support of the Kelo decision in eminent domain, the fact that his tax plan as proposed, and I read it, is more progressive than the current tax code. And that, again, from what I've seen and what he's put up, he just wants to rename Obamacare and name it Trumpcare, and it will be great because my helicopter, my schmeckle, and my plane all say Trump, and they are huge. And so I don't know whether we saw the end of Sarah Palin as a figure in the conservative movement, or if today we saw the conservative movement in one of their completely disaffected, maybe breakaway third-party moments.
I'm not 100% sure. I still, looking back to September and her it was all over the conservative and mainstream press, Sarah Palin out there, I want a spot in a Trump administration. If you think there were not some discussions almost immediately, and Donald Trump is enough of a showman to know exactly when he was going to pull that card out of his pocket, and with the evangelical influence and vote in Iowa, for whatever reason, she's still really popular there. Okay. I think it was a very calculated move, and I would make a level bet there was a deal behind doors. There had to be.
30 seconds. Did you want to talk a little bit about the governor trying to sack Cruz over there as well?
Well, we saw the governor sack Cruz, but that's because anybody with half an understanding of the monetary impact of ethanol subsidies is against them. We're never going to run cars on corn. It's just not going to happen.
No, baby, vote for Bernie Sanders. We're going to run them on unicorn farts instead. I cannot.
Well, and then she trumped out her kid to bash Cruz. That was just ridiculous.
Politics getting dirty. Idiocracy is here, kids. But don't get JD wrong. That was just my political take. When it comes to JD and that Sarah Palin, baby, ain't nothing changed like that, baby.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
All right, Iranians grabbing Americans. Americans letting Iranian prisoners out. The whole world's going to hell. But you know what, baby? Diamond Dave loves JD and Stacey on the fastest hour in conservative radio. Game on here on that K98 Talk. Coming back on the other side of the break, we got Durka, Muhammad Jihad going to pay some bills.
One break coming up.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you like your health care plan, this is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
From the Vikings of Norway to my home down south to Washington, D.C., I've been around. I've seen it all, and I've come out on top. You better beware, for all you know, the bell tolls for you. Enter the bell tower or watch your step. 8 p.m. Thursdays, K98 Talk.
Welcome back. JD and Stacey here. Game on K98 Talk. Dosing you with some radio LSD, some theater of the mind, baby. Everybody within the sound of my voice right now, you know what to do. You get over to that K98Talk.org. You get in that chat room. You say hello to Stacey. Best, smartest political listening radio audience in the business. Remember, guys, we're not just doing it here at 9 p.m. for the fastest hour in conservative radio. As a matter of fact, Stacey and I do 4 of the fastest hour in conservative radio a week. Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On here on that K98 Talk. Friday night shift gear, 5 p.m. drive time, that WNJC, 1360 a.m. Sunday morning shift gears again, baby, for that Bloody Marys and broadsheets. Your cure for your mainstream media hangover. Not now, hooples, after the show. Get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey. JDANDSTACEY. Find a catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Tavi, Rick Robinson, that K98 Talk. And remember, guys, March 2nd through the 5th, National Harbor, Maryland, down at the Gaylord Hotel. It's going to be JD, Stacey, all the presidential candidates, all your favorite people from the medias, all your favorite people from the social medias, down at that CPAC. Come on down with us. Have a picture taken. Join us down on Radio Row. Meet the K98 Talk family. Meet the WNJC crew. Come out and do things with Stacey and I at the Midget Toss, baby.
There isn't really a midget toss.
Yeah, that's because you dragged me to the donkey show, and I will never be the same.
Oh, you need to stop.
You did.
Why do I always have to be the adult?
Why do you always have to be the adult?
Seriously.
You want to know why you always have to be the adult?
Because apparently I'm the only one on the show.
Don't! I got nowhere else to go!
So you have to be nice to me.
Oh, I'm nice. I'll be nice to you, but I'm like, why do I always have to be the grown-up?
Because I lose.
There are never any inappropriate bells on my commentary.
Well, that's why, I'm working that out in therapy, and we'll see what happens. And if I ever get cured of that, we'll be NPR.
We won't be NPR.
By any stretch.
Okay, terrific.
And remember, for those of you who knew the show,
our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
All right, so we can't go a week without
Durka.
Who basically want to. I hate when that happens. And when we ask Scotzo why they want to do it, the answer is
Virgin.
Okay, so what was formerly the United States of America, under the watch until January 2017 of Barack Hussein Obama, did a prisoner swap with who else but the Iranians. Before we get into this, Stacey, and everybody's been following the story. You and I have been doing segments on the Iran deal itself, basically the fantasy unicorn-like hopes of the administration. And he's always been interested in the other. If you take a look at this administration's priorities when they came in, it was, the foreign leader that Obama spoke to the most often in his first term was Erdogan in Turkey. Somebody who's basically taken what was generally a secularish country, to a more Islamic tilt. And we have this prisoner release, and Stacey has some pretty good information and some details, and we're going to go into the background of it.
Well, except on what they don't want to give us details about.
One of the things I wanted to bring up, Stacey, I don't know if you saw this, and I really wanted to bring this to the attention of the audience because I did not know this. We all know that there was a parallel negotiation for the American hostages held by Iran and the nuclear deal. And for those of you who are interested, WDSU.com has got a phenomenal article. They scored a exclusive interview with Brett McGurk. Brett McGurk had a title of the special presidential envoy for fighting ISIS. He ended up being the guy who negotiated the release. And before we go further, the citizens we were speaking about were Jason Rezaian, Washington Post journalist, Amir Hekmati, who was a former Marine, Pastor Saeed Abedini, and Nasrallah Khosravi Roodsari, who is the one of the four I had heard the least about. Still missing and not a part of this was former FBI agent Bob Levinson. Stacey, why don't you come in?
They can't find him.
Why don't you come? Well, as a matter of fact, I read an article today that said that McGurk had said, and McGurk is the diplomat who did the majority of the negotiations. As much as I think it was sick what we gave up and how it went about, this guy McGurk should be commended. I mean, he was given a job and he got it done. But one of the things that McGurk goes on in this exclusive interview with WDSU, that really caught me is the article says, but the U.S. believes Levinson, referring to former FBI agent Bob Levinson, may no longer be in Iran. Bob Levinson went missing from Iran in about 2007. For those of you who are inclined, go look up the backstory. It's very interesting, cloak and daggerish. Quote from McGurk. This was the diplomat who did the negotiations. If this was a situation in which we knew Bob Levinson was in a prison cell in Iran, we'd have a different outcome here. In fact, it appears that he's not being held in Iran, which makes me wonder whether he is still alive or whether he's been turned over to another jihadi group by the Revolutionary Guard. Stacey, why don't you come in and give a little detail and context to what exactly we're talking about?
Sorry, I was coughing. I will get better. I promise.
She caught the comprehensive immigration reform.
I think it's actually Ebola.
Every time. Oh, Ebola? Oh, we got something for Ebola, too. Hold on. You want to play name a sound effect for the disease?
Oh, my God.
I could do this all day long.
You probably could.
Let's see. Crabs.
No, stop.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good Lord. All right, back to this hideous deal, which was, by the way, directly after we watched, several of our sailors get down on their knees with their hands behind their heads with Iranian guns pointed at them and learn that SIM cards were taken from their satellite phones because I'm sure there's no important information on there at all.
And
so that was pretty fun.
Not to get distracted, but why are 10 U.S. sailors traveling within arm's length of Iranian waters traveling with passports?
I want to know what was on those boats and what was on those SIM cards.
Well,
I'll bet it had something to do with the negotiations, so I'm just going to adjust my tinfoil hat.
Anybody who's been in the service, knows you're not rolling around with your passport. All right, go back to this asinine jerk.
So then we suffer our second humiliation when we ask for some of our citizens back, who are things like journalists and pastors, who really didn't do anything wrong. And we are then told that we are going to give clemency to 7 really neat individuals in the country. And I could not find information on all of them. But these are not people who, did a little something or maybe sold some plastic trinkets to Iran. These are people who were arrested and convicted of supplying, selling, or somehow pirating and providing to the Iranians things like satellite technology, big-time electrical technology for things like intercontinental ballistic missiles.
And let me freeze you there for a second on the technology before you go forward. We've spoken in the past about Obama giving up what's called the hegemony of the United States in that region over the past 40 or 50 years, and basically he ceded it to Vladimir Putin and the Russians. Now, the 2 remaining real nuclear superpowers in the world besides the United States are the Soviet Union, Russia, and China. And you want to know what their biggest failure was? If you go back and look at all the Cold War stories, Russia and China, because they lack the innovation that we have here, do nothing but reverse engineer technology. Iran is a client state of Russia and tacitly of China as well. So it's almost a backdoor reverse engineering in my mind of passing our technology through. Please pick up where you are.
Yeah, but this was not even just technology. It was money laundering in the tens of millions of dollars. These weren't some people who, had some minor, you could almost, under the Espionage Act, after you're reading some of these things, convict them for material support of terrorism.
Well, that was the whole thing.
It wasn't just even about the technology. It was also about the money.
No,
so not only do we have to let them out of jail or stop prosecuting them, we have to maybe let them stay here. Are you serious?
And for those of you who have lived under the Obama regime and know how extra-constitutional it is, and basically it's an Alinsky-ite program to basically shred the Constitution and make sure that the ends justify the means. The New York Times goes on today to secure the release, and they're talking about the hostages here, to secure the release of Mr. Abudini and the other Americans held by Iran. Mr. Obama freed 7 Iranian and Iranian-American men charged with or convicted of violating sanctions against the Islamic Republic. Mr. Obama, again, decided to trade for Americans in captivity. This is the best part about this. Despite concerns even inside his own administration that it might encourage others to target Americans. And we'll pick up where 7 Americans were just kidnapped in Iraq and taken now where they think to Sadr City, which if you take a look at the factions that have been going on there, and it goes back to when we were fighting back in Fallujah. Oh, no, we're gonna put our American generals next to the Iranian generals, and the Iranians are gonna go in there. Yeah? Well, you know what you can't get into Sadr City without the permission of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, because that's who controls it. Not U.S. troops anymore. The blood, the sweat, the treasure that was spent. Not turning this backwood, rock-ass, durka mud hut savage country like the rest of them into a Jeffersonian democracy, but addressing U.S. interest in the regions. No, you now have 7 Americans being held in an Iranian stronghold of a basically failed Iraq. This anger that just popped up made me think of something else I was bringing up before. Let me go for a little further here. Governments are taking American hostage, and this is still the Times article. Now, this is Rubio. Governments are taking Americans hostage because they believe they can gain concessions from this government under Barack Obama. Those hostages were taken after Rubio made that statement. Now, Obama deemed the release of a few sanctions busters a reasonable trade-off, despite the complaints of his critics. Now, wait. One last thing, which I don't think our audience knew. I didn't know it before the show. Everybody knows about the $150 billion in frozen Iranian assets that are being given back to the Iranians held in banks around the world as a part of this nuclear deal, correct? Did you know that the administration got bent over and is paying an additional $1.7 billion extra to settle a 1981 claim over payments for military equipment that was never delivered? That is a year and a half after they had American hostages. Let that sink in.
You know, and then did you see Marie Harf today?
I tried not to. She's got great cans, but like when she talks, she ruins it for me.
Oh my God, from the neck up, she looks like the guy from Wayne's World, the blonde one, Dana Carvey.
I have never looked at her from the neck up.
I'm sure you haven't. She dresses like somebody's grandmother. But anyway, she's in there today. She's in there today going, oh, I know it's like $100 billion, but $50 billion is going to go to like prior expenses and things that they haven't paid, so it's only half that.
Halfway, I mean, she's sitting there trying to say that we're getting half. We're paying an extra $1.7 billion. Let's circle this back to the hostages and the swap and the exchange. Did you hear the one of these hostages, if I'm reading this correctly, this has been, I was getting such mixed, it was hard. The Nasrallah Khosravi Roodsari, am I correct in saying that she, after being released, or he after being released, voluntarily decided to remain in Iran? One of the people released did, and I'm trying to figure it out in this whole chain.
Yeah, no, one of them did voluntarily decide to stay, but I think they're supposed to be headed home. They just didn't come home on that plane. But the other thing that these Durkas did is they continued to hold Rezian's wife and mother and weren't going to let them on the plane.
Exactly.
The whole deal almost fell through because they wouldn't let his relatives come home.
They had a Swiss diplomat on the tarmac with our Undersecretary of State, McGurk, who negotiated this. And at the last minute, I'm glad you said that. At the last minute, try to pull some nonsense where, well, we're not going to keep up with the deal and we're not going to get the mother and the wife. And they said, no, you got to bring the deal. These are the same mullahs that this administration is banking on abiding by the terms of the nuclear agreement. Last thing on this, this I thought was very interesting. Which article? Here it is.
But can we just say one thing real quick?
Wait, we got 60 seconds. Let me just bring this. So this was in the WDSU article. This was with our Undersecretary McGurk. Undersecretary Sherman and Secretary Kerry would raise the American cases almost every chance they could, but it became clear to make progress, we'd have to open a parallel channel with people in the Iranian system who could make decisions, the people who could actually make prison keys turn. That was a different element to the Iranian system than the nuclear track. That, folks, is you being told that the United States government negotiated a nuclear deal with Iran that they're selling to the world as some historic event with people who could not unlock jail doors in Iran. 30 seconds. Take us out.
And yes, we traded for 7 sanction busters here who gave up really, really, really big stuff. But oh, by the way, we also took the red alerts, which are essentially international warrants, off of 14 really bad actors that you can't even find any information on.
Well,
we didn't mention the 14. The number isn't really 7; it's 21.
Oh my God! Did you hear? The Mueller's response after we got our hostages back?
Hey, where are the white women at?
Ha! One of them is right here with me doing the show. All right, fans, this hour on Conservative Radio coming up into the 10 o'clock hour. We got nonsense in the world of the week coming up with some virtual porn, baby. So put on your glasses, get 2 hands away from wherever you got it. JD and Stacey, K98 Talk, coming right back.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
JD and Stacey officiating some theater of the mind, dosing you with some radio LSD here on Game On that K98 Talk. Everybody get over to K98Talk.org. Get in the chat room. Say hello to Stacey. Remember, guys, Tuesday, Thursday, 9 o'clock, Sunday, 11 a.m., all times Eastern. Friday, yeah, we're on in Philadelphia, Southern Jersey, Northern Delaware. Big whoop. Want to fight about it? WNJC 1360. Get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Have a catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Tavi Rick Robinson. Come on, check us down at CPAC, March 2nd through the 5th. Welcome back, baby.
Thank you very much. Can we just have a little celebration early in the third segment?
Can we have a little what?
A little celebration.
A little celebration about what?
We did have some good news to share in this segment. Yes,
we did.
Jihadi John is dead for real.
Oh,
we thought we got him. They confirmed today we got him. So the moron from Great Britain who went back to the Middle East and was the starring, jihadi in the beheading of Mr. Foley, has been squashed.
And for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, baby, that's one of these video idiots for ISIS.
Oh, Durka.
And evidently some U.S. firepower got off and obliged Jihadi Jerk-Off John
Virgin
to go see his virgin. Horse trainers Mark Kavanaugh and Danny O'Brien banned for 3 or 4 years, respectively. The Islamic group has confirmed the death of British jihadist Jihadi John. Oh, it's too bad. So sad, John. Saying he was killed in a drone strike in the Syrian stronghold of Raqqa in November. He was born Mohammed Mwazi and was known as the executioner of the jihadist group, appearing masked in a string of videos showing the beheadings of Western hostages. In its online magazine, Dabiq, remember, baby, listen to JD and Stacey, you learn stuff. The group said Mwazi, this kid was 24 years old. 24 years old and has been an international face for this group for the last 2 or 3 years. He was killed November 12th as the car he was in was targeted in a strike by an unmanned drone in the city of Raqqa, destroying the car and killing him instantly.
Oh, Durka.
And you know what the last thing that went through his head before he died was? Shrapnel.
Good.
But here's my question. We're now hearing about this, and it happened November 12th. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that we don't have any eyes on the ground over there. We don't. I mean, it's great that we're killing the jihadi jerk-offs. I'm all for it. Go blow up the mosques in Brooklyn. I really don't care. Go get them. But when it's how did you refer to this? The catching the drone and the release and the what?
Oh yeah. You mean Obama's foreign policy? So we're gonna let them all. We caught them. We're gonna let them all out of Gitmo and other places and take their warrants away, and then we're gonna play whack-a-mole with these guys all over the globe and then drone them. So it's catch, release, drone.
Catch, release, drone. I like the drone part. And just take the Durka.
Oh, Durka.
Give him a little. And let him meet the
Virgin.
Thank you, Scotzo. Scotzo, an old friend of the program, coming back for that segment. All right, now, this is the one everybody been waiting for, baby. The story of the day. Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what you want me to discuss in this.
For those of you.
We already talked about Raymond Wong and his virtual reality experience.
I love the fact that a guy doing virtual reality sex actually had the name Wong. All right, we're going to bring you a little...
Giggity, let's have sex.
The porn industry, yes, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry after years of challenges from free online content. God, this is a great country. You want to know what? I'll give the Democrats this much. Some people have to pay for a voter's ID, but you can get your porn for free, baby. You may finally be on a path to growing again this year. Oh, double entendre in first sentence of the porn story. Growing again. Well, piracy is still a problem. Oh, my God. Now I got pictures of porn pirates in my head. Some adult entertainment studios say they're seeing a bit of a turnaround, and new technologies are giving other content providers... All right. Performers, directors, and executives will begin addressing this. Now, for those of you convention goers, at the Adult Entertainment Expo, which begins tomorrow in Las Vegas. So anybody in the greater Las Vegas area, go to the porn convention tomorrow. And tomorrow, baby, they're going to be talking about that virtual reality sex. That put it on your face and just feel it all over the place, right, baby?
That's what Raymond seemed to think. I'm very uncomfortable. This is not a topic I really even understand.
Is this the same Raymond Wong who tried to make the robot into a sex robot and stuck his schmeck on it?
No. That was
Giggity, let's have sex.
Not a robot.
Like seriously, it's going to get to the point where human beings don't even need to interact, and I'm rather scared.
Oh, please! What would Bill Clinton do? Could you imagine the billions of dollars we could have saved if Bill Clinton could have got himself a virtual danger in the?
Oh my God! The way your mind works often terrifies me.
And for those of you who don't know what a danger is,
no, that's not what this show is about.
Oh, speaking of dangers and schmeckles, let's talk about this. Now, this was a New York Times article. This really caught my attention. The New York Times is very, very scared for some Hillary Clinton. And the funny thing is, I don't think they ever saw the Uncle Bernie momentum coming up in Iowa. There is a movie, not about Hillary,
God.
not about the Clintons. It is to humanize Huma Abedin. Who's Huma Abedin? Huma Abedin is the wife of the Congressman Anthony Weiner, who basically whacked his schmeckle all over the interwebs for anybody to see. Yeah, that guy.
Under the name Carlos Danger.
Carlos Danger. Anthony Weiner, after entering the New York City mayoral race, after putting his joint in everybody's face all over the internet, is the reason that we have Bill de Blasio. Who is Huma Abedin? Huma Abedin is Hillary's longtime aide. And when I mean aide, I mean picks her up and Huma, where's my soup? It's time for a nap, Huma.
Tells other people how Hillary has to be reminded about things. And
Huma, I'm meeting with the
affectionately also called in politics the fall guy.
Huma, what time is my meeting with the president of 7-Eleven? Secretary Clinton, that's the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Huma! So this woman knows where all the bodies are buried, because honestly, in any other parallel universe, the presence of this woman embedded like a tick inside a Clinton world after what her husband did. I want you to think about this. Bill Clinton got brought down in a sex scandal after a year of denying it, and there was no proof. A jizz-stained blue dress that, for some reason, Linda Tripp hung on to because whatever floats her boat, God bless. But that's what caught him. This guy, there was no question. He had a press conference that Andrew Breitbart showed up at about his winky going all over the internet. Yet, there is instead, Jesus, I thought this said Inside Wiener, a new documentary the New York Times was allowed to view exclusively ahead of its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. Because where in the hell else would you premiere a humanizing biopic of a woman whose disgraced congressman couldn't keep the schmeckle in the pants and had to take a picture of it on the phone, right? I mean, seriously.
I mean, it's just, I don't understand. So they did this documentary. Things went horribly awry. I mean, you just got to kind of go, wow, okay.
Well, it's not
I don't even understand. I just don't even understand the...
It's not even the fact that it went awry. It wasn't even the fact that it went awry. It was basically, I honestly think that the New York Times, for those of you who don't think that the media is in the tank for the left, the New York Times had this in the can ready to go a year ago. So did the film and everything. And this was to be rolled out because cankles was supposed to be inevitable. And now Uncle Bernie, Mr. Vargas, the color people yelling, are you in charge here? Boom, boom, boom. Nobody saw Uncle Bernie coming. And for those of you who did not watch the Democrat debate the other night, go back and watch it.
Oh, my God.
If for nothing else, for those of you who have seen Cocoon or On Gold, it was basically Cocoon meets On Golden Pond meets One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And it really, Bernie Sanders in that debate reminded me of an old mental patient who was trying to start a riot in the cafeteria of the home because we were told we would get peas. I did not get peas. I got squash. Squash is a gourd. Peas are things that I like. It was that you really need to see that. Okay. Did you see that The Onion was sold to Univision?
I did. I actually find The Onion to be quite funny sometimes.
Well, now
I think that Univision, like it does with almost any, funny. That's just me.
It just what did you say about the Univision thing? The audio bubble went.
I said I just think Univision will make it terribly unfunny like they do with everything else.
Well, that's the whole thing. You know, if any of you who have watched Univision is basically a real-life
version. Depressing.
Univision Communications, the parent company to the nation's leading Spanish, and for those of you who went to public school, that's Espanol language broadcast channel, has acquired a controlling stake in the satirical news site The Onion, NPR has learned. The agreement between the two seemingly disparate media outfits, I don't know about that, was described to NPR by a person with direct involvement in the negotiations. A second person who was briefed on the deal by Univision, So the next time you see Antonio Diaz-Balart telling you that I must tell you, the illegal immigrants who come here, they are not dangerous. They just do it as an act of love. Now it's not just an Onion story, it's a real story, so it makes you want to go. All right, before suicide, the fastest hour in conservative radio here, wrapping up. Baby girl, we can't save the world, but we can enjoy ourselves till midnight. You got them keys?
I got those keys.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, please, I need some cold medicine.
Oh, and a very good listener of the show. I'm doing it at the end for Peter Deacon, Don Ho. We did something about porn, so hoes. Stacy, where can people find you on social media?
At Scott's Fire, at SCOTSFYRE, and Stacy Lennox on Facebook. Wow.
Yeah, that's easy for her to say. You can find me at Game On JD on the Twitters. Peter Deacon, I got the Don Ho reference in there. It's called The Callback. If I live through it, kids, I'll see you Thursday.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com. If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.